Happy 2023, guys. This is the officially unofficial geek. My name is Carrie Quinn, and we're here to talk about comics, y'all. Comics, comics. It's been a bit of time. I needed to kind of do a little bit of time um, not doing the channel stuff to realize, this is. I want. I want so many things in this life, and one of the things that has really enriched my life is coming on here and getting to communicate with all of you. So, um, I'm here, and I honestly, on this first day of 2023, was this close to not even doing a video today. But I'm here. And I'm going to talk to you about the comics that I read last week because even though I haven't been here, um, I did read some comics. So I've been keeping up with things, and I'm going to talk to you about the comics that I read this past week. If you're wondering what I thought of the comics from last week that I read, check out my Instagram at officially unofficial geek. I did do a post last week that was just, you know, using pictures and writing and that kind of thing. So, little bit there. Obviously, you guys can check that out um, and kind of keep up where my writing has been, or not my writing, my reading has been. My writing is a whole other video that we're gonna try to put together um, very soon. I'm kind of waiting for some things to kind of work out or finish and that kind of thing, and then I will get a little bit of a video on my writing because that directly has to do with stuff that I'm geeky about. So, um, my Target brand sparkling flavored water here. Got that. I got my lip gloss on. Um, and I've got my new Harley Quinn shirt. I got this for Christmas from Joe's parents from um, Bizarro Fets Moms. They got me a Harley Quinn t-shirt. It's so cool. I love it. And because you guys know how I feel about Harley Quinn. I got other stuff too. Actually, I've just started reading. It was a Christmas gift. Pretty Deadly, by Kelly Sue DeConnick. The first volume. I got that. It's pretty good so far. I've read the first two. Like the first two issues in that first trade paperback. So it's pretty cool so far. Like, because I was like, you know what? Joe is getting really into Westerns. But I'm not really into Jonah Hex, which is his favorite Western. And so I was like, what if there's maybe like some Western type content out there that might appeal to me, which is why I I went looking for it and I found that. So put it on my Christmas list and I got it for Christmas. So yeah, um, great stuff, great stuff. Lots of things that are going to be coming down. I don't want to say lots of things, but some things that I'm going to be working on. And I'm going to try to be here with you guys as much as possible. One thing coming up, Mr. Comics 89 channel here on YouTube does this show where it's called The Knockout, and I'm going to be on The Knockout. The first episode of this season, I'm going to be there, and basically, Knockout is like you put two different characters from pop culture, very heavy comics, okay, against each other. And who would win in a fight? It's kind of like a World's Deadliest Warrior. If you guys remember that show from the Spike Network, I used to watch that a lot. I love that show. God, I really love that show. I need to find some up, see if there's some episodes online. Maybe that would be really cool. to watch some of those again because that was a great show. I loved it. Um, so it's kind of like a World's Deadliest Warrior, but it's a tournament. And the first episode, um, people sign up with Matt, Mr. Comics 89, and to argue a character to win in a fight. And then he goes ahead and he, does like a random spinny wheel thing and puts people up against different people. Well, I signed up to argue for the Joker. We all know how much of a DC fangirl I am. I signed up to argue for the Joker. Well, the luck of the draw, or the unluck of the draw, the Joker happens to be up against Loki, god of mischief, and brother to Thor. So let me just, I think it goes without saying that I can use all the help I can get. So basically what happens is everybody, goes on the show, they talk about the character that they have. Um they plead their case, and the live chat, live audience, and also um, whoever happens to go and vote ahead of time, they determine the winner. Um, so I obviously need some help because the Jokers versus Loki. But I got this. I got this, guys. I got this. I'm going to tell you right now, I got this, and I'm going to have it. So I'm obviously doing this to have fun. Um, but I'm also out to win. I'm also out to win. So um, check that out. That's going to be on Mr. Comics 89's channel, not this channel, but his channel. And it's going to be on Tuesday, January 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're going to want to check that. Put that on your calendars. Put that in your planner. Put that in your cell phone. And come watch me argue that the Joker could be Loki. I got this, guys. Don't worry. I act like I have no faith in myself, but in all reality, I have a lot of faith in myself, and it all stems from what's up here in the old noggin. I am preparing. I am reading older comics that have to do with the Joker. Right now, I just started reading the Emperor Joker storyline. Uh huh. Yes, I'm reading the Emperor Joker storyline. Um, that is not going to be the whole of my defense. My That's not going to be the whole of my defense. That's not going to be the whole thing. But it's probably going to be a decent portion of it. Like I said, you're going to have to come and check it out to be sure what I got up my sleeve. But anyways, um, and just keep on staying tuned to this channel because I geek about everything. And if I'm going to geek about everything, then might as well put it on the channel, right? Right? Yeah. So, anyways, guys, first off, let's go. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the comics. Let's go ahead and get into the comics. Not want to keep you too long this evening or this morning, whenever you happen to be watching this. Um, the first comic review of 2023. Let's get into this. First book that I read this week, and I really wanted to like this. I really did, because when it comes right down to it, if I had to pick a favorite Green Lantern, it would be John Stewart. However, I read Green Lantern, The Emerald Knight, #1. Have not really been keeping up with Green Lantern type stuff, though, admittedly. Um, I was pretty lost on this one. And it looks like, so we've got, the writer is, let me double check on this one, guys, because all I see is the last name, and I want to be sure before I really get into this. Yeah, Jeffrey Thorne. Jeffrey Thorne is also recently responsible for season 1 of the reboot of, not entirely responsible, mind you. He wrote the first season of the reboot of uh why can I remember the name? Oh my goodness. My mind has gone completely blank. It was, I'm gonna pause this because I don't want to sit here forever trying to figure this out, and just think about it for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. It only took me a second. He actually, it really only took me a second. Like, you can just tell I just sat here like this for a second. Um, Jeffrey Thorne was the scriptwriter on this new reboot of Blood Syndicate. Yes, which for me started out a little bit slow and hard to understand, but eventually kind of came together. So I don't know if that is something to be said about this. However, um, I did not get this at all. I didn't get it. And I really wanted to. So basically, when it comes right down to it, Jon Stewart, it has kind of godlike powers now, and he's kind of the conduit of the Green Lanterns. Like, it doesn't even look like they have rings anymore. Um, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He's trying to also lead them as well. And it all comes together in the end, kind of, but when you're pulling something and you're making it, and this is a problem that mostly I see with any time I try to jump into any Marvel work. We really need it to become something that is a part of just general comic book structure. That when you have something that is not necessarily a continuation, but kind of is, but you call it a #1, whether it's a one shot or is the start of a new series or what have you. When you get something like that, give the reader previously in the storyline kind of thing. Previously in the storyline, this is how we got to this. I have seen other comics that have done that. They have done that well, and it has helped me jump into different things. Um, I'm gonna say that not having this at the beginning of the Jon Stewart Emerald Knight. Oh, I kind of like how they did that Emerald Knight, like Dark Knight. Like, they're really trying to make Jon Stewart like the top banana, and it's interesting because he really is kind of the top banana of the Green Lanterns. But when you do something like that, where you have a new #1, but it's kind of continuing, and it's not really having a jumping off point, which the jumping off point would be where the story is coming from. And the fact of the matter is that you can expect new readers to jump on to a #1, where maybe they weren't reading Green Lantern before, maybe be like, okay, so I saw stuff that the Jon Stewart character did during Dark Crisis. I saw that kind of stuff. I saw, other things like that. Maybe I'm interested in what this Jon Stewart character is all about. Or maybe you have seen Jon Stewart before, but maybe you're not really familiar with the recent storyline. Um, and you're like, okay, I like Jon Stewart. Let me jump into a Jon Stewart story. And then you get there and then you're completely confused because you haven't been reading Green Lantern books as of late, and you basically just paid however much it was to, well, in my case, fall asleep while reading it. Sorry. Because I was confused. I was confused. Literally confused. If you can't stimulate my mind, you're gonna lose me pretty quick. Sorry. Um, Let me tell you something. Blood Syndicate started out kind of confusing to me. And then I was like, okay, I really want to like this. I'm going to keep going with this because I really want to like it because I love the mission of Milestone Comics. I've liked anything else that I've read. I want to like this. Um, and the thing is it pulled its shit together in the end. Um, and from what I can tell, Mr. Thorne is entirely approachable in the community. I have personally been in live chats where Mr. Thorne has jumped in, Jeffrey Thorne, and has talked to the community. Um, so this is a guy that really cares about his stuff, and the thing is he might have been thrown something that who knows, really. I just know that I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is Superman Action Comics number 1050. This was what it is it's like it says, a new era rises, and you've got a number of writers here on a few different short little stories, okay, which is kind of where Action Comics is going to be taking itself at this point into becoming a more, if what my understanding, a lot of other people's understanding is about Action Comics. And it's going to be taking itself into this route that's kind of like Batman Urban Legends, which I was reading for a while, but then it got to be too much. Too much for a price point. Yes. And it started getting to the point where the stories weren't as interesting to me. So yeah. We start out this book, and like I said, there's a few different tales here. We start out this book with the death of a major character. Guys, this is a spoiler-tastic comic review, so I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Um, Lex Luthor had been using Manchester Black um, to spy on Superman. Um, though Manchester Black, in the process of becoming this spy for Lex Luthor, kind of drank the Kool-Aid in regards to Superman. Like Superman, when he went to Warworld with Superman, Superman really kind of just made him believe um, in Superman. And because if you think about all the things that they did when they were on Warworld, everything that they accomplished, Manchester Black at this point in the storyline is like, you know what? I'm not down with this job anymore. I'm not gonna do it. I have respect for this person. I have respect for Superman at this point. Um, but Lex Luthor is like, no, I'm gonna use you without your knowledge. Not without your knowledge. He's well aware. He's connected to machinery. I'm going to use your abilities without your consent, and I'm going to set forth in motion this whole plan where, with the exception of the people that happen to be in the Justice League, one, and two, the people that happen to be at one moment in in Ma and Pa Kent's home. Um, the world now does not know who Superman is. Because the world is now back to not knowing about Superman's um, alter ego, Clark Kent, as well as people are not aware that John Kent is also Superman. Um, that is the bulk of the book, is what happens there when Superman finds out that that happens, when Superman finds out that Manchester Black is killed. Um, all that. Um, then you have a little bit of a tale about um, something's happened to other Supermen across the different universes. Um, and apparently they need John Kent. So that's supposed to be the jumping off point for the Adventures of Superman John Kent book that's coming in a couple months. Then you have a little tale involving the jumping off point for the new Superman, which is now going to be focused back on Clark Kent's Superman. All in all, the stories and everything um, were interesting. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I feel about the switch over to an anthology. Some of the stuff coming down the pipeline, um, from what we're hearing, is not necessarily all that much of a bad thing. So, with that being said, I have not ended my subscription to Action Comics yet. We're still in a wait and see on that one. Yeah, yeah, we're still in a wait and see on that one. Um, Overall, that was an interesting read. I did like it. I liked some points more than others. Um, I think I've mentioned previously on this channel that I did not appreciate, did not like the betrayal of Manchester Black. Um, though I do see how it was a means to an end for the situation. I did appreciate how Manchester Black did sit there and admit that the reason he didn't want to do anything like this anymore is because he liked Superman, he believed in Superman, um, and where Manchester Black does not go out without owning Lex Luthor just a little bit. Um, it's really cool how they've kind of tried to take the idea how before War World, um, Clark Kent's Superman was starting to wane in his um, abilities, and how something happened when he was on War World where now he's stronger than ever. And that does get displayed quite a bit in that major story in Action Comics 1050, where he does eventually have to face off against Lex Luthor. So that I did very much appreciate. I did very much enjoy that. So the next book we're going to talk about today is Punchline: The Gotham Game #3. What I really love about this is we have two comics, at least two comics, that storylines have been able to be interwoven. Um, Mostly, I find it. I think it's fairly easy for these two comics to be interwoven. So because they're both written um, in part or in totality by this writing team. Well, this one is a writing team of Teenie and Blake Howard. Catwoman is written by Teenie Howard, and their storylines have begun to be interwoven. And I like that because it's one of these things where it's like literally last week we had Catwoman, this week we have a continuation of that story. I like that. I like when comics get to be interwoven together and you get cohesive universe storylines. I like that. I like that. It's like I like it. I don't even know really how to say it. And it's one of those things where it's like you it's like you get to like a storyline and you get to possibly more than two little bits of it in 1 month, and I like that. Um, in particular, things and moments that I did very much enjoy here. The idea that this is right after the Ace chemical plant blow up, right after in Catwoman, right after Catwoman is arrested for being responsible for that and for the murder of Valmont. Yeah, like seriously, if you have not read like Catwoman 50, go for it. You should. Um, there's some pretty powerful stuff in there. However, it is another one that someone had brought up on social media that probably could have done well to have that whole like this is how the stories progress and this is where we're coming from in the beginning of the book, because it probably could have dealt with having that. You do get the whole confirmation of what Batman had talked about. I think it was in the previous month's punchline to, I think it was Dick Grayson he was talking to, about the difference between Punchline and Harley Quinn. How Punchline is the like the disease, whereas in Harley is someone that just kind of was a victim of circumstance, not necessarily a victim of circumstance. I forget exactly how he put it. How Harley Quinn is redeemable while Punchline is not just a symptom of the disease, but she is the result of the disease. Um, and it really drives that point home here, based on things that Punchline herself says. How she is basically doing this for fun, um, because she can. So you have that idea. You have the fact that Bluebird shows up again, which is cool. Bluebird does show up again. If you were reading any of the backups and the punchline backups in the previous Joker series, not the one that's going on now, previous one written by James Tinian, the Bluebird was basically pit up against Punchline, and Bluebird shows up now and is trying to fight Punchline, and trying to do her best to foil what Punchline is doing. Punchline obviously has, it's what's really cool is that it seems like Punchline really doesn't even have a plan. Like, she doesn't have the evil plan. She's just kind of like, I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to keep on doing this horrible evil shit and I'm going to see what happens. Because I'm having fun doing the horrible evil shit. It's a great story. I'm enjoying it. Yeah. The next book I'm going to talk to you guys about is Harley Quinn number 25. And yes, if you were wondering, I continued my tradition of getting the cover B, which is a lovely, lovely dark ass cover by Francisco Matina. Matina, look at this. Look at this. Okay, so guys, look at this. This is pretty fucking awesome. Like, yeah. So Francisco Matina did a during the Batman Who Laughs series um, a few years ago by Scott Snyder. It did a cover art variant for the Batman Who Laughs. I think it's number 7. Can't tell from here. I have it displayed in the next room. That is one of the many variants that was done, because obviously when you have the Batman Who Laughs, the obvious to me the obvious idea that comes up is if you have the Batman Who Laughs, the one of the few other characters that's actually come close to killing the Joker is Harley Quinn. So what would the Harley Who Laughs look like? And a couple people, a couple of different artists had their different ideas of what the Harley Quinn Who Laughs would look like. Francisco Matina had my favorites, which was a variant cover, just a white background, um, bust drawing of the Harley Quinn Who Laughs. Um, and it was a Batman Who Laughs number 7. Like I said, I think it's number 7. And that eventually became something, and obviously other different artists had their viewpoint on what the Harley Quinn Who Laughs would look like. We have the one that actually did eventually end up in Harley Quinn, the series of Harley Quinn, which made their first appearance um, uncloaked, uncloaked first appearance in Harley Quinn 24 last month, and right now we have Harley Quinn 25. Um, which, let me see if I got a good. Let's see here. I want to show you guys a good picture of the Harley Who Laughs here. Fun stuff. You got Harley running from the Harley Who Laughs. Right here. What's really cool about the Harley Quinn story that we're getting for the last few issues, this issue and the next couple issues before um, we have a new writing and art team take over, is, and because we've got the whole Dark Crisis thing happening and the multiverse opening back up again, um, we have a multiverse story for Harley Quinn, because we started out this whole arc, who killed Harley Quinn, um, where you have somebody taking a shot at Harley Quinn and Harley Quinn dying, and then Kevin takes her to a Lazarus pit and revives her. But now she's been trying to figure out what's going on, who killed her, and we find out in the last issue that the character that's really after her uncloaks themselves, and they find out that it is the Harley who laughs. So it goes from being a concept that was used in cover art, um, to being an actual character. So I love that. So one of the other things I absolutely loved about this issue is within a couple pages, you have the appearance of a a type of Harley Quinn that I absolutely love. Um, if you have never read the series of issues called Old Lady Harley, um, I recommend them highly, because there she is. Um, Old Lady Harley encounters, at another time, encounters the Harley Quinn who laughs, who basically is on a quest to be the only Harley. So they are going through different universes of Harleys to eliminate each of them one by one. Um, so the Harley who laughs shows up and is trying to go after Old Lady Harley, and Old Lady Harley fights back, obviously, because it's Harley Quinn, and ends up falling through a universe portal, dimension portal, with the Harley who laughs, and they end up on the same universe as our hero, Harley Quinn. Um, so when the Harley who laughs exposes herself, not like literally, but like uncloaks herself and is like, "Hey, I'm the Harley who laughs," not like, showing a, boob or anything, but um, that's the porn version of what we're doing. So, the she uncloaks and she reveals herself as the Harley who laughs, and Old Lady Harley comes and saves the Prime Harley, saves the day with the Prime Harley. And they realize together that they do a little self care together, which I appreciated and I liked, because Harley's been through a lot the last few weeks, with the whole dying thing and then trying to figure out who killed her thing, and the dying, then coming back to life, and then trying to figure out who killed her thing. It's convoluted, and it's complex here, and she's been through a lot, guys. So Harley actually, Harley and Harley have a moment together, and then they figure out that they need to get and destroy this device on the Harley who laughs arm, which allows her to travel through different universes. Okay. So they get into a fight with her, and they get the device off her arm. And Harley Prime goes to bash it. And she bashes it, and it doesn't it doesn't do exactly what they thought it would do. Um, what it does is actually creates a situation where a bunch of different other universe Harleys show up, and let me tell you something. Harley has a Harley might. Um, wow, so many different kinds of Harleys. Yep. Oh my god, I just realized, guys, there's a robot Harley here. That's pretty cool. And one of the jokes that happens is she finds out that there's this dimensional travel thing, and both Old Lady Harley and Harley Prime both ask if there's a mermaid Harley, and there is one. And they ask about there being a pirate Harley, and there is one. Yeah, right there, pirate Harley, mermaid Harley. Um, she's gonna think that's so cool. She really is. That's kind of cool. Yeah. All different kinds of Harley showing up for what will be probably very interesting turn of events here, guys. So, really enjoyed Harley Quinn, as always. Next book I'm going to talk to you guys about that continuously is the slow burn. Um, has a continuously interesting um, it's just continuously interesting. It's Batman Detective Comics 1067, and it's a slow burn. The thing is like it's not only a slow burn, it's also poetic. Romvey's writing is very poetic. I do very much enjoy whatever I read of his, even if it's something that I'm not really quite getting. I enjoy it, and Detective Comics is no, no different. I really loved. We do get Mr. Freeze in here. Um, Mr. Freeze, if you recall from the last issue, um, saved. Well, came across Batman fighting with the werewolf and froze them both so that he could stop them, and then got Batman free, drug him away, and revived him. And has a little bit of a meeting of the minds with Mr. Freeze and Batman. Have a little bit of the meeting of the minds, and Mr. Freeze is like, "Look, I just want to kind of be left alone. I just want to be left alone um, to do my own thing. I don't want to be involved in any of this. Um, I used to think that you got between me and my wife, doing all these things that you were doing trying to stop me. But what I realized was that Gotham is like your Nora. And yeah, so like I really loved that portion of the book, of the issue this week. I really loved that where it was like Gotham is like your Nora. I really liked that. Like I really liked that idea that Gotham is a great love of Batman's that he's always trying to save. We had a lot of stuff happening um, involving the Arkham family. Um, they're working on rebuilding on the site of the Arkham Hospital, the Arkham Asylum. They are rebuilding there. Um, the gentleman is trying to get in with Bruce Wayne. While he's doing that, it's basically to kind of get his attention while his people are basically tearing apart a community that was built by Wayne Enterprises for low income families to live in. Um, and of course, Two-Face is involved in that because he is dealing with his um, how do I want to put this? Two-Face has been dealing with, and not just this, in Task Force Z, um, by uh, I believe that was by Matthew Rosenberg. I believe so. Task Force Z saw a Two-Face that was trying to be more Harvey Dent, rather than Two-Face. Um, and now you have this situation after the end of Task Force C, and now you have Harvey Dent involved in the criminal aspect of Detective Comics and what's happening. And you have a Harvey fighting the the underlying personality uh, of Two-Face, and how that is attributing and contributing to the action of the book. Um, I'm interested to see still where this goes. There's not a lot happening, but yet there is a lot. What's also going to be interesting is kind of reading these arcs together, possibly, which I'm always trying to find um, more things to read, apparently, because um, everything that I've started on that, like, DC Infinite Universe app, like, that's not enough. Um, I always have to find more things to read. Yeah, I do. Um, I have a huge TBR, and I gotta say I'm thankful for that. I have a huge TBR, and I'm thankful. Yes. So this leads us to the last issue of the week. My favorite issue of the week. Was it any mystery? Batman Beyond the White Knight, number 7. Here we have just a wonderful story continuing. We didn't have this last month, and I missed it when we didn't have it last month. Um, because I needed to see what happened to Dick Grayson. It was bad. Um, but alright. Dick Grayson is going to be okay, guys, because they were able to get him away. You have Terry McGinnis, who's getting involved because he found out that his father was killed by Derek Powers. So there's that. Um, Derek Powers was under control, though, of the suit, of the Batman Beyond suit. So there's this point where they're trying to get Dick Grayson medical attention, and um, it was really interesting how Terry McGinnis was not in control of the suit, and he was still fighting Bruce Wayne, even though he did not want to, because Derek Powers was in control of the suit. Um, this whole, like, this results in the computerized version of the Joker, of Jack Napier, um, tapping in to the suit. and hacking into the suit to stop Terry McGinnis from fighting Batman when he didn't want to. And now, because of that, he is a hologram projected off of the suit, and everyone can see him. Um, so there's that. And I like how they're like, okay, we're gonna let everybody see Jack Napier now and be like, why is the Joker here and why is the Joker helping? And basically, Batman has to be like, you know, long story, guys. Let's move on. We got bigger issues than the fact that you can see the Joker right now. Which I it was basically like it's basically the Batman's version, Bruce Wayne's version of, well, some things you just have to accept on faith alone. So everybody is converging and everybody's getting involved. You literally have two past Robins, uh, Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. You have Duke Thomas, who's the new Robin. You have Gann, who is Jason Todd's Robin. You have Terry McGinnis. You have Batman. You have Harley Quinn riding up, and she's like, "Okay, I'm ready to, I'm ready for some action. Let's do this." Um, so they're all coming up with a plan on how they're going to get Derek Powers. And you got Babs is there, she's there, and you have everyone at the end off to do the thing. It's like right there, like in this whole like shot right here, this little panel right here, it's almost like the it's literally almost like that moment in Armageddon where they're all walking towards the yeah, they're walking towards going to go destroy that asteroid, or is it asteroid, meteoroid, or whatever. And it's all like they're all walking like they've got the right stuff. And yeah, I kind of like that whole that that little thing right there. I love that. And I love how they're just like, he's like, you can see me. Oh my god. Two Batmans fighting all over the city, the young versus the old, crash landing into the GCPD, where Batgirl and Nightwing reunited. Bat's ready to sacrifice himself in order to save his family, only to have his family save him? With not just one, but three Robins, aided by his best friend, a reformed Joker. I'm totally fangirling out. I love the character of Jack Napier, um, the Joker, in this book in particular. I love it. I love it so much. Just if you haven't been reading um, Beyond the White Knight, and you're waiting for the trade, you're in for a delight when you deal with the color commentary of Jack Napier, the Joker, in Batman Beyond the White Knight. You are in for a treat with his color commentary, believe me. Um, Sean Murphy and his team has really developed an absolutely wonderful storyline that keeps on keeps on keeping on. Keeps the interest, keeps the wonder, and it's excitement, it's humor, um it's love, it's excitement, humor, love. It's you got all of the boxes. Like if there's boxes, you got them all checked. With anything that I've read in this Murphy verse. and all the boxes get checked continuously. It's always one of my top books when I read it. Always one of my top books when I read his work. Um, we're coming up on the end of this month is around that time where I started the channel. And two things that I read that really brought me hurtling myself back into reading comics to the point where I was remarking the other day that I was never this obsessed before, like I am now. Uh, two things that I read were Sean Gordon Murphy's Punk Rock Jesus, and then the Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn, written by his wife Katana Collins, and the art done by him. Those two people are pretty much in that universe, um, and the world of Punk Rock Jesus, pretty much responsible for what you're seeing in front of you here today. At least when it comes to doing comic book reviews. Obviously, I've been a geek about Doctor Who, a bunch of other stuff like that, for years, um, without any kind of break in between. Um, but yeah, they're pretty much responsible for me getting back into comics, I think. So, and now I am like hardcore. I have never been this hardcore about something in my life. And it's one of those things that was like, when I'm done talking about the comics from this week, I'm just kind of talking now. For years of my adult life, never quite finding exactly where I fit and who I wanted to be. And then finding this. I mean, I always wanted to do something creative with myself. Like I got a degree in theater. I've always written like poetry and that kind of thing. You guys heard me talk about this for years. Always trying to find that place where I can be creative and it could I could possibly make a living, and I definitely do not make a living doing this, believe me. But sitting there and thinking, so many different things that I thought about doing. I thought about going to cosmetology school, um, becoming a special effects makeup artist, um, owning a bakery. Yeah, I made and sold jewelry and accessories under the name Mercy Noir. Nothing quite fit the way writing does for me. Nothing quite fit the way this does for me. So, in the beginning of the year 2023, find what you love because, and then just do it on purpose. Like Dolly, I think it was Dolly Parton said, find what you love and do it on purpose. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe I'll get lucky still. Stories, words, and stories are what make me who I am. Reading them, writing them, writing poetry, which is a little bit different than writing stories. It's what makes me who I am. And I thank you for being here, for being a part of that in whatever way you are, in whatever way you can be. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of that. And thank you for being a part of what's to come. Who knows? Who knows? I've got dreams, I've got plans, I've got things to do. And I hope whatever you need in this world, that you're finding it and you're getting plenty of it. I'm going to seek it out, so should you. As long as you're happy and healthy and you're not hurting anyone, have at it. Thanks for being here, guys. This is the end of the video. Here's to 2023. Go make something beautiful. Go make something beautiful. And I'll be seeing ya. Bye.